Hey, what's up, BKFC family? How you doing? We're back with another Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by Carlos Trinidad-Snake. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you going?
So the last time we saw you, you gave Dustin Pegg a very snake look. You unhinged his jaw. were you expecting to? Were you expecting to break his jaw that quickly?
No, I mean, I feel like if you look at Dustin Pegg, man, he's a big, stout dude, and even standing next to him, I could tell he was a bigger body guy, and I just knew that I had to go in there, and that's the only way it could have ended, because he was definitely a problem, and I feel like if he got some good shots off, uh, they're definitely gonna hurt, So I had to get my shots off first, and I feel like I did a good job. Uh, Kind of just moving out the way and just letting it go to the round and finishing.
And then you gave him another very interesting snake look. He was like a spitting cobra. He was just spitting huge amounts of blood. Was that gross, or did you when you saw the large amounts of blood coming out of his mouth, did you know something was wrong?
Um, yeah, obviously I knew something was wrong, and I felt like I kind of knew it was the jaw, and so I felt like after that it was just kind of just jabbing him, moving, jabbing, and like I said, I kind of knew once it went to the round it would be finished. Um, but I also knew that once he realized something was wrong and he was still going, that he was an animal and that he was gonna fight to the last second, so it was pretty cool.
Take us through. I mean, you got a big fight coming up, but take us through what it's like winning the main event title in your hometown, like in a big BKFC event.
Yeah. Um, it feels good. I felt like I've done a lot for the BKFC. I fought a lot for them in a short period of time, and I just feel like uh, it was finally good to get some recognition. And the city, they were all behind me, and I feel like I'm kind of blowing up slowly. Um, I look to remain undefeated next weekend, and you know, keep blowing up, keep my hype going.
BKFC had told you you were the number one contender after you won that fight. Then BKFC, gives Austin Trout a fight against Rico Franco, which I mean, you kind of get it since it was over in Spain, but you also don't get it because you're the number one contender. How does that make you feel? And is that why we're seeing you? Because you're pissed off and you want to go show everybody, hey, the snake is still here. He's still the number one contender.
Um, yeah, it kind of sucked, but at the same time, I'm not really worried too much about it. I know my shot's coming. I know, even if I have to fight one more time, that I'll stay undefeated, and I'm always going to get the title shot. It could be soon, it could be later. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who holds it. If it's Austin Trout or someone else, I just know that my time's coming, and I'm patient.
I talked to your coach. He was not as patient as you. He was like, hey, we were told this, and so he was worried you guys were going to get shelved. So he said we needed to make sure we got you another fight to stay relevant because you look at somebody like Superman, Brandon Allen, who sat on the shelf for 15 months as the number one contender. Was there any concern that if you didn't speak up and go take a fight, that you were looking at maybe sitting for over a year again?
Um, I don't know if I would have sat for a year, but I felt like it was getting, it feels like it was getting pretty close, and I, every fighter wants to stay active, and I don't want to go fight for somewhere else and uh, do something I don't want to do. I like doing the bare knuckle. I want to stay active for them. I want to just keep, like I said, keep the hype going, keep the record going, and just see what I can accomplish over here. And so I'm looking forward to this weekend, stopping another opponent in Zach Jusola and keep climbing, man.
So Zach Jusola, not a huge name in BKFC. I had heard whispers you were supposed to have another fight. Was that true?
Yeah, I kind of heard that we were supposed to fight someone else too. I think it was supposed to be Julian Lane. I don't know what happened with that. I think it'd have been a good fight. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing on my end for sure. I'm always game to fight whoever, and I think it'd have been a good fight just for kind of like a breakthrough. I feel like a lot more people watch him. They think he's a definitely a dog. He has a fighting spirit. So I feel like
Sure.
a lot of people would like to watch that fight, but it just didn't happen. So
It is unfortunate because, like you said, that was the name that I had heard too, and I had heard it from somebody outside your guys' camp. So like it was kind of weird. And I was telling people, I was like, oh, I was telling the guy who does all my graphics, oh, this is the fight. They're going to be announcing it soon. It's going to be huge. And then it was Julian Lane suddenly against Angulo, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that. And then I thought, well, they'll probably hold you for a while, and then they announced that you're on the card too. I do like that they at least honored their contract and kept you on the card versus making you go through a training camp and then shelving you again.
yeah, um, yeah. Like I said, it's kind of a weird opponent in Zach Gisola. Like it doesn't really do anything for me. It's all risk, no gain. Besides staying relevant and just showing everybody I'm a dog still. And I'm ready for that belt. So, um, yeah, I'm not like I said. Like people ask me like how I feel about the fight, and like it's not really like a big fight. I'm not sleeping on the guy. I do think he definitely poses a problem. Every fighter does. But to me, it's just this isn't the fight I'm looking for. I know I'll beat Zach Dusola. I know I'll fight the champion.
Awesome. Okay, so I asked Chris Camozzi about you. He said he trained some with you. He said you are like the silent killer. He said you are the epitome of a snake. He goes, that guy has the best work ethic. He's a super quiet guy, friendly, but you are not somebody who wants to get played with in the ring. So like I feel like that was a great compliment. Did you watch Chris's fight, and can you tell us about training with Chris?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a monster, man, and he's always supported me, and I'm glad he has the belt. Congratulations, Chris Camozzi. Um, I felt like I learned a lot of training. He was probably some of the first high level guys that I trained with, and I felt like it definitely gave me just a little bit of motivation. We definitely working, and I wasn't far behind. I wasn't falling behind. He's definitely a bigger body, but I felt like I was, like I said, with the boxing skills and just slick movement. I like sparring the bigger guys, and it was just a fun time. Man, he was here for like I think a week, and we just had a great time.
Okay, so I know that you talk about how you're focused on BKFC. I had heard you had quit your day job to focus entirely on training and getting to the next round. So like, I mean, tell us about like, I mean, was it a difficult? I know you had recently got a house and you've got an awesome wife. Like, what was that conversation like? Hey, I want to quit what I'm doing to focus on being a professional fighter full time.
I don't really feel like it was like a conversation, honestly.
Okay,
It's just something I've always done. Um, it's not something that like I kind of planned or just I just knew that as I climb my career and you got to elevate, you want to be a pro, you got to train like a pro, you got to do something different. Not everybody can sacrifice something like that and train and go travel to different places and train stuff like that. But I got the luxury of doing so, so I definitely utilize it when I can, especially for fight camps and stuff like that. Um, this one wasn't like a short notice; it was just kind of like a late notice fight,
okay.
So I didn't really do too much for this one. I stayed home. Here we have B&B in Omaha. We got one of the greatest boxers in the world right now. We got Terrence Crawford trains out there. It's his gym. I go over there. I definitely get some great work, and there's a good group of guys that I train with down there too. So they've been helping me get ready. And like I said, I'm not worried about anything that Zach Jusola has for me.
So you and I were in the same corner or the same locker room for the Omaha fight. It was crazy to see how big your team is and like that Omaha contingency, like your guys' crew, and so many killers and tough guys in there. Like, what is it like working your way up from like the lower ranks? And you guys are all kind of starting to become pretty big names in the BKFC as we speak.
Yeah. Um, like the Omaha crew that fights bare knuckle, it's a small kind of group. There's not a lot of people that fight bare knuckle. Like it's to the scene. If you know bare knuckle, yes, there's a lot of people, but
Sure.
like they're just not. It's just not a huge thing. And so all my guys, we're all pretty close, and it's just cool to see them climb the rankings. Watch me climb the rankings. Um, I train a lot with he's my brother. I call him Blaine Richards, and he's a CFFC world champion, 170 welterweight champion, and he just won that belt like a month ago. And we train hard every day, man. And I help him get his belt. He's definitely helping me every day get my belt, and it's just good to have a partner, man, someone you can depend on, and just has the same work ethic as you and the same mindset. So I'm definitely blessed to have a brother like that, and getting ready for my fights.
You are not a very big active social media person. You do see Connor comes in. You saw that Redneck is really starting to up his social media. Is that something you're really going to have to focus on, or you just really don't care enough that like you are who you are, or do you see like, hey, I'm going to have to start posting more if I want
No,
to start getting these big
the
fights?
social media, I definitely have no problem with the social media, man. I feel like I'm definitely not camera shy by any means or anything like that. My management has definitely pushed for some more active social media, so I'll definitely be posting more, doing more, and just watch the climb to the top, man. Sure.
It is funny though, like to see like I said, it's so weird to see guys who are good fighters and not the social media people versus the dude who loves to post a million times a day and talk about how great they are on social media, yet they get clowned in the ring, and how you have to be such you have to tightrope between the two now. Like
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
so frustrating.
nobody wants to be the guy, man, who just says like, "I'm gonna knock this dude out," and then go get knocked out. So it's just like you gotta wait till you go put the work in, and then you could be like, "All right, I beat your ass," Not you gotta. Um, but even then, I'm not even that guy that does stuff like that. I've got respect for all my opponents. Every opponent I've ever fought has been respectful, and like I said, it's just kind of funny to me. If you're like that and you post every day and you're not the good guy,
Yeah.
I mean, like it keeps it. I don't know, keeps it hype. You know what I'm saying? It's something to look at, something funny.
Okay, so this is coming from a Nebraska fighter. He said he wants to know who's your number one Nebraska fan.
My number one Nebraska fan. Um, from Nebraska, a number one fan. I
You
want to
want another
say,
hint? Oh,
my boy Houston Alexander. Uh, Definitely one of mine. He's watched the climb. He's watched me fight from like little auditoriums, man, with like 200 people, 100 people, to fighting in big arenas, and fighting to eventually fighting on a pro card with him, and it's just cool to watch it. Every time I see him, man, he tells me, he's like, "Man, you're my favorite fighter, man, and I like your style." And it's a huge compliment coming from a big killer name like him. He's definitely uh, he's a killer, man. Like, I've trained with him, and he's still got stones in his hands, man. Like, one shot can put you down. So he's a cool dude. If I had to pick, I'd say Houston Alexander. But
well, it was in fact from Houston Alexander, so good guess.
yeah, thank you.
So I
Shout
had
out
heard
Houston
there was gonna
Alexander.
exactly shout out the assassin. I had heard there was going to be a fall Omaha card that got pushed off to spring. Are you at the point where you want to headline another Omaha card, or are you ready to go to Miami and start taking on big names? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you ready to branch out? You're stepping away into Montana, but like, like you want to go like more on the big stage down there in Miami, one of the bigger cards.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm definitely ready for a bigger stage. I think I've definitely put the work in to at least to deliver a shot on one of the bigger stages, bigger arenas. I want to fight on one of the international cards, man. I've been saying it for a long time. Um, I mean, what can you say, dude? Those Marbella dudes, there were some killer fights on there, man. And I just feel like I have a good style that fits in with those guys, and I feel like we can definitely throw on some killer fights and some good shows. Um, yeah, if it came down to it, headlining another Omaha card, um, I don't know if I'd be too interested in that. I feel like I've definitely pulled away and I've broken through to where I deserve at least the respect to get an international card somewhere big on a bigger stage, even if it's not the main event. But I definitely feel like I won't headline another Omaha card.
So recently, Dave Mundell had some pretty strong words for the British, fighters. The Americans are just better than the British fighters. So How does that? I mean, like, do you kind of agree with that? Like, watching how the fights went, did you agree with that, or
Um, I I don't want to be biased or anything, but I'm just like, if you saw like what happened, you know what I mean? They have, I think, who did Mundell fight? The Danny
Danny
Christie or
Christie?
whatever.
Yep.
And I felt like he had a lot of hype, a lot of fans, you know, and Mundell shut him down quick. Like it wasn't even any type of competition, you know. So I feel like um, from Mendell's side, I can see why he said that, you know, because he definitely proved it, you know. But I don't know. I don't want to be biased and say, you know, yes or no.
I personally would like these, Italy's coming up. They said Italy in the spring. I would love if we did the American fighters versus the world. Put some of you guys against a British guy, put somebody against an Italy. You know what I mean? Like, I would love if they did more, like we bring, somebody from all the weight classes from America over there and like kind of do it like US versus the world. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool too. You know, I'm definitely interested in something like that. So hopefully next year when they're doing these international cards, these big cards, you know, they think of me, throw me on the card.
Okay, so when you win, I was going to say if you win, but I know fighters hate when I say the word if. Like, heaven forbid you said if. When you win, I mean, quick turnaround. Hey, I would love to go fight like Eddie Alvarez. I don't know if Eddie Alvarez has an opponent yet, but I mean, like, they have the Philly card coming up. Is that a fight that interests you, or?
We're managed by the same management, me and Eddie
Oh, okay.
Alvarez. So I don't feel like it's a fight that they'd make happen.
Okay.
I met him one time in Miami. You know, he's a cool dude. He's definitely a lot smaller than me. You know, I thought like you see these guys on camera, you think they're huge or something. You know, they look shredded, and then you stand next to them, and they're just like little tiny guys. You know, I don't want to say he was small. He was like that tiny, but he was definitely shorter than me. You know, so um, I would definitely love to fight a legend like that. You know, I think everybody waits so they can get an opportunity to fight somebody like that. You know, I think I'm definitely ready. Um, yeah, no, I don't think Eddie Alvarez is my guy though. You know, I think we'll wait on someone else.
How bizarre is it when you see these guys on screen and they look huge and muscular and big, and then you show up at like the weigh-ins and you're like, holy shit, this guy's petite. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the TV makes him look 6 foot tall and huge, and then you meet him in real life and you're like, you're 5'6", like.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of feel like that's all my opponents. You know, I feel like they're all like real big. You know, and
Yeah.
they go to the weigh-ins and they're just small guys. This dude's supposed to be bigger than me, taller than me. You know, so it'd be a different view for sure. But you know, it's still gonna be the same result, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so I'm going to read this one because it came from your coach. And he said, I'm extremely proud of the man Carlos is and has become. I met him when he was just a teenager, and to see where he is today, he's a champion in life, and I couldn't be more proud. Carlos is a beast.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I don't know. You know, me and my coach, we've done a lot together. Like you said, I fought as an amateur for him, and he's never given me no easy fights. I felt like every fight I've took for him was a hard test, you know, and I didn't win them all, obviously, but it definitely helped. It helped me see what I needed to improve on and train train different aspects of MMA, you know, because originally that's what I started in, you know, and the bare knuckle was just something that I was just good at, you know. So it was just kind of hard. I don't think anybody really foresees themselves staying in the bare knuckle for a long period of time, but with just a trajectory of my career, I just feel like where else would I go? I'm number one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seems you're pretty good at it, so you might as well stick with it, right?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself being able to with bare knuckle being kind of like damaging with the cuts and stuff? Do you see bare knuckle being like something you could do for another 5 years, or do you see it like you take it fight by fight? Like, where do you see your career, I guess, over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think you kind of just take it fight by fight because it is a vicious sport, you know, and I feel like a lot of people, maybe they do get hurt, you know, and I don't really feel like after the fights, I don't feel like too many people get hurt. I mean, I did break Dustin Pegg's jaw, but it's like, how many times do you hear about a guy getting their jaw broken in the bare knuckle? I don't think I've seen another jaw broken since, like, you know? So it's definitely like a rare thing, you know. I think it's more like
Sure.
your hands, maybe your tendons in your hands or something like that. I feel like that's more like what gets hurt. But I don't know. If you just move your head, you don't gotta worry too much about getting in the head. You know?
Did you see the photos of his jaw after? Did he share those with you or no?
Yeah, he did. You know, he's a cool guy, man. He sent me
Super
a
cool.
T-shirt. I got it somewhere, man. It's a dope one. And then it has the guy with the broken jaw on it, so it's super awesome. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a bad break. You know, I do
Really?
jujitsu still, and I go roll at another gym, and one of the surgeon that did his jaw actually trains, and he trains over at the other. And he was telling me, he was like, "Man, that was one of the more like vicious breaks I've ever worked on." And because I think he said it was like four spots or something that it was broken in, and
Yeah.
it didn't. You know, I don't feel like I like if you watch the fight, it happens so fast. You know, you just don't really see those things when you're in the fight. You know, until you watch it again.
Was there like any like anticlimactic that it ended that fast? Like I said, I mean, it was literally like 10 seconds into the fight, and
Yeah.
granted, the rest of the fight played out. But was there any like, holy shit, I was prepared for a war, and I caught him with just a slick uppercut, and that was it?
Um. No, I wasn't really too worried about it. Honestly, dude, if you pay attention to the fight, I hit him. I realize it. There's a part in there where I ask him like, "Is it broken?" And he gives me kind of like a nod, and he's just like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "All right." And I never threw another uppercut. Like I didn't like. He's a good dude, man. He's a dad. Um,
Yeah.
I think he's still. I think he's just finishing up his recovery from that. You know, and that was all the way in like May. So, uh, honestly, I feel like there was no need to do any more damage to him. Like I said, I did know like once we went to the round, eventually like it was gonna stop. So
Well, shout out to you for being a good dude because you could have legit hurt him, had you kept going. So good for you. I appreciate you doing that. That's
yeah, like
a
I
good.
said, dude, if you pay attention, like I knew he was gonna keep going. So it was just jab, jab, move, jab, jab, and like I said, I knew he was gonna swing to take my head off. He had one chance, and I knew like if I just stayed moving, you know, like eventually the fight would go to the round and I'd win. So it wasn't too bad. It was actually, you know, that's how you want the fight to go, really. You know, get in there, win the fight, take minimal damage, and get out. You know.
Okay, so it seems like Connor is really invested in Kai. So there's a good chance. It hasn't been announced, but you got to think there's a good chance McGregor shows up to this fight. Do you plan on like kind of making a big deal that once you get your win, kind of promoting for yourself and telling him that you want to fight Austin next? Like I guess kind of going. It seems like everybody's trying to go through Connor now to get the big fights. Is that what you plan on doing?
Um, you know, I didn't even anticipate kind of going there or anything like that. It's not not something. Like I said, everybody has a different approach to things.
Sure.
Um, I don't feel like I'll have to beg for anything. Is what it is. You know, I feel like I'm sick. I'll be 6-0, undefeated. Um, who just lost? Tony Soto. Tony Soto. I think. There's probably a couple other guys out there, you know, that I can't think of, but he's probably one of the guys that took like the longer road to the belt, you know. And
Sure.
like I said, but at some point he became undeniable to where they were like, we have to give this guy a shot, you know. And I feel like once I achieve the 6-0, I'll be one of the guys in my division who climbed that bar. And continuously taking out ranked guys, um, minus Zach Jusola, but I feel like I definitely have the resume to put forward to fight for the championship.
Awesome. All right. Well, I can't disagree with anything. Like I said, this fight doesn't make a lot of sense to those who know BKFC. I appreciate them letting you fight though. Like they got to showcase you. You are an up and coming rising star. So they got, like I said, shout out to them for putting you on. After you get through him, hopefully we get to see you and Austin Trout. I know Austin Trout said that he wants to go to 55 and try for that belt because that's more of his. So I don't know if they do an interim thing or like what. I don't know what. It's 65 is such a weird weight class at the moment. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I see that they sign like these big name fighters, dude, like all the time. But I'm like, you don't ever see them fight, you know. And I feel like I'd fight any big name fighter. You know, I feel like I definitely have the record for it. I feel like anybody beats me, you're definitely guaranteed a shot at the title. And why not take a shot with me? I feel like nobody wants to lose to a guy that nobody knows, honestly. And it's just like fighter politics, you know. But I'll just keep waiting for my shot, and I'll keep taking these dudes out until eventually they can't deny me.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to talking to you again. Good luck in Montana. I don't think I'll be there, but good luck. And then hopefully we get to see each other again in Omaha or something like that. So, all right,
Yes,
man.
sir,
Good
for
luck.
sure. Have a great day.
Take it easy. Thanks, man.